Hey guys, welcome to today's stream. It's a little bit late today. So we had a family event that was going on and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the stream on time or not. And I was like, I don't know. And I was going to do a post thing on YouTube and possibly Instagram. And I totally forgot to do those. So we're doing it a little bit late today. It's about 4:15 or so. My time, so hopefully it's not too late where you're at. I wanted to do some bespoke blanks today, and I wanted to kind of play around with some of the like kind of galactic ghost things and some starlight glitter, and I also wanted to throw in so we've been trying to kind of hide tubes with the the Color Lab pigments. Like, how much do you need till it's like super opaque? This time I want to kind of go on the other end. I want to just put like a drop or two and see what we get with the navy blue, I think, today. I think that'll kind of go best. I don't know. We're kind of have like kind of a bluish looking theme. I'm trying to think if there's, I mean, robin egg blue might work, but I think it'll be kind of cool to go with the navy blue. I think I kind of have an idea of what that's going to look like with just a little bit in there. So anyway, we'll make some bespoke blanks. These will go into the pen blank club boxes, and I'll have to get to work making more. Oh, by the way, guys, there is a spot open. Another spot opened up on the pen blank club. Let me see if I can find my website. Oh, did I add another one? Hold on a minute. Let me look and see. I can't find it. Maybe I'll just type it in. Yeah, I think there's one. Yeah, there's one available. So let's see here. So I'm going to just drop a link if anybody is interested now or watching the replay. Let's see here. Boom, there's that. So let's see here. Take your time. Yeah. Well, I need to actually kind of get out of here. So I'm not going to, talk and do all kinds of stuff. Hopefully we'll keep it like about an hour today or so, something like that. 8,000 foot elevation. Well, I'm in the mountains too. We're at about 5,000 or something like that. But that's just where my shop is. Kim is, what did she say? Past midnight. Oh man. Whoo-wee. I'd probably check in too if it was like Saturday morning, evening cartoons, I would probably check in more often. I don't do the actual mornings, but if it's like midnight, I'd probably be like, oh, hey, what's going on? David Bingham, how's it going? Oh, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, this one will be kind of weird. We'll have to see what everybody does. So I'm going to flip to the overhead and show you what I had in mind. So I got my tall boy. I make those. I don't sell those ones because they are a giant pain to make. For anybody that is looking to make bespoke length blanks, I would recommend just go to Turner's Warehouse and pick up these puppies, the tall guys. They work just as good. There's only 4 versus 6. That doesn't really matter because guess what? You could just get 2, and then you'd have 8 instead of 6. So, in fact, I think I'm gonna pour 2 of these. I want to see how 8 goes. Actually, we're gonna do a double batch, twice as much done. So what I have here is I've got some of my gold Starlight, and I've got some of my regular Starlight. Let's see if those guys will just stay right there. I've got Galactic Ghost Gold. That's upside down. Galactic Ghost. I need to figure out how to flip my camera around. And then I don't have Galactic Ghost Blue because there was a mess up with my my Turner's Warehouse order, and I haven't placed another order to get the new one. So I think this is going to be about the same exact product. I think it's going to be close enough. It'll be like a Galactic Ghost. This is actually the Wine Country Casey's brand. I think it's pretty much the same thing. It's like a macro kind of whatever shifty thing. And then we'll go with navy blue. It's not going to be very navy. It's going to be more probably on the blue side because we're actually going for like a translucent color. So like I'm talking like a drop or something is all I'm going to put in there. And then the other thing that I'm going to do that's a little bit different than I would say normal, I'm also going to add clear. We're going to add some clear spots and just like pour that like it was a color. So it should be pretty fun, pretty fun. A lot of math here. No, it's not your fault. No, it's not the math. The problem is they've got Galactic Ghost Gold or blue or whatever, and then they've got like Ghost Blue, and they have all these names and weird things with eye candy. I'm not even, I mean, frankly, I'm actually surprised I even noticed when I saw it. So it's not you guys' fault. It's not a big deal. I just haven't done an order. I'm trying to figure out what all I need, and then I'll place an order. It'll be good. It'll be good. 7:15 in Connecticut. That's cool. I had a friend's birthday party. Oh, that's good. That's cool. Bruce Mullins is here. What's up? Thank you guys for joining the fun. All right, so a little bit late today. Like I said, we had a family event, and I wasn't sure what the timing and all this stuff was going to be, and I was gonna actually post. The reason I didn't, well, the reason I forgot to post something, it's a little harder to post and say, I don't know if we're having a stream. Like, that's kind of a weird post. So that's why I actually forgot to post, because I was like, oh, you know, originally I thought that I wasn't going to be able to stream. So like, that's easy, like no stream today, you know, whatever. But then I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Maybe I will be able to. And then I'm like, well, that's a weird post. And I totally forgot to post it. So we're going to try and do a double batch of these tall boys today. So that should be pretty fun. So I'm going to get my little book of notes out here. Move that out of my way. Get that right there. Let's see. And then I was having, I was having microphone problems. It wasn't like, my computer wasn't like noticing that it was connected. That was weird. Figured that, I don't even know how I figured it out. I just kept touching buttons and it finally decided to work. All right, so today's June 28th. We're going to do, I don't know what we're going to call this. I just kind of had an idea. I wanted to put a little glittery stuff. I kind of wanted to mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dump some of the Starlight in with the Galactic Ghost stuff. That was something that I was kind of curious to see. So like, we got Galactic Ghost Gold, and then we got Gold Starlight. So we're going to put, that's going to be one color. And then we got, this is one color. And I know it's blue. Technically, I have a violet. Do they have Galactic, like, violet Ghost, something, whatever, with eye candy? I'm going to look that up. Actually, I'm going to go to Eye Candy's website, because they may... Turner's doesn't have every single... thing. Let's see, Galactic. I'm just going to type in Galactic oh god, pop-ups. Sign up for this, do this. They do have a violet. Okay, so actually we're going to switch this out from blue to violet, because I do have a, Casey had a violet one too, not violent. Where did I find these things? Uh-oh, no, I lost them. What is it called? Macro blue. Oh goodness, what did I do with it? I just had every one of the colors out. There it is, macro violet. We're gonna go with violet instead. That'll be a little bit closer to this one. It's kind of a purpley color. So, same thing. Bespoke, we're calling it Bespoke, Galactic, Starlight, blanks. That's what we're going to call it today. How about that? Sounds good. I know, they only have 10,000 colors. Why don't you have every one of them? God. Now, to be honest, Turner's has probably, I would say, and I haven't tested every single one of their colors, but when you look at the shades of colors that they have, that Eye Candy has, I think Turner's did a really good job picking, because they got like the whole rainbow. They got a lot of colors, but I think they, you know, there's a lot of the Eye Candy colors that, like, frankly, is there really any difference? Why do you need 50 different, you know, of these? And I understand, like, they do also do like automotive and whatever, but for pen blanks, you're like, yeah, it's bluish. Close enough. All right, so we're going to be doing, let's see. So these take, I don't know how much these take. Anybody know how much these things take? I bet they have it on their website. Let's see here. Casting molds, blocks, silicone. I don't want a block mold. What am I doing? Where is blank molds? Vertical. There we go. 4 blank vertical. That's a 12-inch. 3/4. Let's 75 grams per cavity. Look at that. P-Town does a great job with there. How much do you need to put in there? 75 times 8, whatever that is. More than I can count on one hand. Lucy Bundy, welcome to the stream. Where are you at? That it's the morning. It's evening for most everybody else. Might you be down under? Let's see. So 75 times 8 times 8. Whoa, really? No, 4. That's not right, is it? 600 grams? Am I looking at the right thing? It doesn't even seem right. 3/4 by 8.5. Because, like, I do 5. Yeah, okay, I guess that's about right. I don't know. We may have a lot of leftovers if that's wrong. Let's see. 300 times 2. And like I said, so we got 1, 2, 3 colors, and then we're going to add a 4th technical color, but it's just going to be clear. I want to add a little bit more depth. We got some translucence, I want some clear, and then I want some sparkly, glittery stuff going on. It should be pretty fun. Ah, just got in. That's cool. Sounds good. Oh, in the UK. Cool. Cool. We're gonna make some resin casting pen blanks here. So, all right. So we got 300 times 2, and then we got 1, 2, 3. We got like basically 4 colors. I'm just gonna make it an even. Well, let me think about this. Divided by 4. What is that? 150. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think I want. I think we're just gonna go even. I don't, because sometimes you can like weight one color and just have like little bits of something else. I don't really want to do that. I think we're just gonna go even amounts, see what we get. So we're gonna have 4 different cups here. And another way, actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it like kind of an audible on this. So originally I said I was gonna just put the Starlight glitter in with this stuff. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 separate cups, but then dirty cup them, you know, pour one into the other. So I think that'll be kind of fun. So we will split this, actually, 2 of these guys into 2. And I think I'm gonna do 100 and then 50 grams. So 100 is gonna be like the macro Galactic Ghost, whatever this stuff. And then 50 grams is going to be the Starlight glitter. So that'll be kind of fun. We're getting really crazy here. But it's kind of nice to do just a dirty pour, because if you've got like 5 cups or 6 or, you know, whatever, and the way that I do it, I don't like pick up a bunch of cups at the same time and pour them. I do like one color at a time because I'm kind of challenged. So it's much easier if you can just dump one color into another cup and then just pour it like that. And I think we'll get kind of the same thing, but it'll be bigger blocks. Kind of like bigger chunks rather than having it all mixed together, you know. We'll kind of have little blobs of things together. So we've got, I'm just going to call it GG Gold. And we got Golden Starlight. We've got GG Violet, basically. And I know, like I said, this is the wine country version, but I think it's basically the same thing. And we've got Starlight glitter. Starlight. And then we got 100 grams. So I think what I'm going to do, we don't need a lot. So, you know, depending on what you're trying to do, if your goal, if like the end product is going to be something where it's going to be like a tubed pen, you know, you're putting tube in, all that kind of stuff. a lot of times I end up going like, put a lot of stuff in it, you know, color or whatever, just because I don't want to deal with the tubes. I don't want them kind of popping out. And if it gets too transparent, then you got to like basically paint the inside of the blank, and I always hate doing that. So I don't like that stuff. For most of my like, you know, like the shorter pen blanks, which are generally a little bit more focused on people that are turning the kit type pens that are going to have a tube, I usually just load them up. Now, if you're doing bespoke, that opens it up. Like you can just have totally clear or do whatever you want. You know, the only thing is you're going to have to, maybe if it's dead clear in some spots, you might have to, you know, do a little sanding on the inside of the blank, or, you know, the part blank, you know, whatever. But that's what I really like about the bespoke blanks, you know, making those, is it really lets you, so what if it's see-through? I don't really care. It doesn't matter. It's not going to look bad. It's going to actually probably look a little bit better. So, you know, a fun funnel. Yeah, one of these days I might try that out. I might try it out. It's a little bit kind of crazy though, because once it goes, it's kind of going, and it's kind of hard to hit a 3/4 inch hole sometimes. So let's switch this back over to the, woo-wee. There we go. And we're just going to do clear as like a color, quote unquote. And then we're doing the Color Lab navy blue. But basically I'm using this just to kind of be a blue. I want to kind of show and test out, but also show that, you know, you don't always have to be putting a bunch of this stuff in. You can just put a drop or whatever, and it'll tint the resin. Little tiny bit goes a long way with that, with these types of pigments. So let's see here. Color Lab Navy. Now I'm going to have to kind of see. I'm basically just going to add a drop, mix it in the cup, and see what it looks like. I don't know, you know, I don't have any real experience with going for kind of like a translucent color with this. I have ideas of what I want, but I figure if I just add a drop, look at it, add another drop, we can kind of get an idea of what, you know, what the range is for that kind of stuff. So let's see here. Let's move this out of the way. This out of the way. Yeah, using my own colors. It's kind of fun. And, you know, I mean, but this also kind of, it's not just my colors, you know, a lot of the, you know, the pastes and all those things, divine pigments, you know, this will be useful to understand kind of how they work. They're all very similar, I would say, for the most part. There's a lot that are pretty similar, the way that they work. Not exactly the same. They all use different ingredients and things, but they're kind of similar, I think. So let's get some resin out here. We're going to go with the Lumelite Clear, slow. And I chill mine now. I'm finding definitely in the summer I never used to chill the Lumelite Clear. The only thing that I would chill that was resin was the Lumelite White, because that stuff is just terrible. Like there's no forgiveness with that one. So that was a necessity basically. And typically I never needed to chill the Lumelite Clear, but I definitely find that if you do, you get, number one, I'm finding that I don't really have to adjust my temperature numbers, which that surprised me the most out of this whole thing. That's one of the reasons why I never did chill it, was because I figured I'd have to do a bunch of testing to figure out what is the correct temperature, because you're kind of changing a lot of factors. You know, the resin's much cooler to start out with, but it's like hot. And the other issue that I thought of was, what can happen is it's already super thick, but then it's going to start warming up, and then it's going to probably thin out in the middle, but then you got to wait again for it to kind of thicken. I was just like, I don't want to mess with it, and I didn't need to earlier on. However, what I found was it actually didn't really require me to adjust much. It's a little bit maybe, but it's very similar to how things work when it's just 68 in my shop and I'm not chilling it. It's very similar to those temperatures, which is quite nice. That really, I was like, wow. It was like a twofer, guys. It was like not only, and so the reason that I'm chilling it is I was finding especially with the just pigments, if I'm trying to mix colors, when it was like over 80 degrees in my shop, like it really, I couldn't get to a temperature where it was thick enough, because the warmer that it gets in the shop, if this stuff is just sitting out on the counter, it thins out with the higher temperature. You know, liquids get thinner viscosity when the temperature rises, and it was kind of a mess. And so I finally just said, okay, I'm just going to start chilling this. Let's see how it goes. And it like worked out like way better than I thought. So it's something. Now I don't, again, disclaimers, that fridge I don't put food in, you know, and I don't know what my thoughts are of storing resin in a fridge that you like put your food in. I kind of don't think that's a great idea. So, you know, you'd have to kind of really think about that, but, and it would be up to you if you, I don't think your wife or a significant other would necessarily love it if they went in to get a sandwich out, or, you know, whatever, cold drink out of the fridge, and they saw resin in there. So a couple things that you could do, though, you can probably pick up one of those like little mini fridges for pretty cheap. And even this little freezer thing that I have was not expensive in the grand scheme of things. Space is kind of another issue, but so just that's the disclaimer. You know, it can be helpful if you can chill it, but there's also some issues with possible safety. The problem is I just don't know. You know, if you got the jug sealed, doesn't seem like it would be particularly harmful, but I got to be honest, if this was my house, you know, like if I was at home, I'm pretty sure Gretchen would be like, yeah, I don't think you're doing that, dude. Sorry. So anyway, 68 in the shop. Ha ha. I know, it's so nice. I got to be honest, it's a little bit chilly. Like I could go for 70. Now in the winter, when it's 68, and luckily we do have the shop heated in the winter, because it would be miserable. I don't like the heat, but man, the cold would be even worse. And that would really wreak havoc on resin casting. So 68 in the shop. I don't know that I would be chilling the Alumilite clear in the winter. Now, you may find that you get really good results or something. I think what it's going to do is just make me have to sit and wait forever for it to get to the right temperature. I don't know. All right, so we're mixing this up, getting a good mix. Let's see, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cups basically. All right, that's probably good enough. I need to go get some more cups out of the thing. So I need 2 150s. Actually, I'll just leave that there. I need 2 hundreds and then 2 50s. So we've got a variety. It's good to have a variety of sizes of cups on hand. All right, so, and I didn't so actually one of the, usually like if I'm going to dump all the resin out of my mixing cup, then you kind of need to add a little bit more to have enough resin. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get rid of one of these cups, and the mixing cup's going to be one of the 150s. If you do it that way, if you use the mixing cup, then you don't really need to add extra to the mix. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know. So we're going 150 here. So this will be pretty interesting. I have found that, like I said, the timing, and basically in like the simplest terms possible, what I found is like what I call the gel period, that period where it's at the right like temperature, which means it's at the right viscosity, end of the working time. Like it's a really good window for pouring blanks when I chill it. That's what the problem was, is the window was too short when I wasn't chilling it. And it was just sitting out, and it was like 80 degrees in here. These blanks don't really require me to be like super accurate with, it needs to be exactly 100 grams or, you know, whatever. Close enough is going to be good enough this time. So we got a couple hundreds, we've got a couple 50s to go. So I'm just going to pour it out. And actually, that makes me think of another little tip for anybody that is buying the pigments. One thing that I have found is, for some reason, and maybe you guys have noticed this too, certain colors tend to make it just, I don't know, it just seems like certain colors kind of affect the temperature and how quickly, even if you have the same exact amount, same cups, same everything, some colors, like I find red typically to be, let's see, 150 is going to be okay, so I'm going to use this cup for the navy so that we can all see what's going on. This one's just going to be clear, so I'm not going to touch it. And then we're just going to put, let's see here, so I'll finish my thought a minute later here about what I was going to share. So the Galactic Ghost Gold, we're going to put, I think let's see, a half. Yeah, let's try it like a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't know. Let's try a 1/4 teaspoon or so. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll have to see how I feel about that. Let's see. Is anything going on in the chat? No, nothing going on. I'm not missing anything. Okay, good. So Galactic Ghost. And so with the Luminite Clear Slow, you got about a 12-minute window working time. Chilling it may change that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how long the working time is. I do know definitely chilling it will extend the working time, even if it is a little warmer compared to it just sitting out on the desk. And I don't even know if we need, we'll go with the full pull. Do a 1/4 teaspoon of all this stuff. Why not? I don't know. I don't really have like, oh, I really want like some specific result or anything. I'm kind of just experimenting. I just want to see how this looks. I don't know, right? So in those cases, overthinking it usually doesn't do you any good. Even if you're going for something specific, overthinking it usually doesn't do you any good. So, yeah, you know. So let's take a peek at these guys and see what this looks like. I think it's going to be good. I might go for more on the Galactic stuff. Yeah, it's going to be extremely see-through. We're going to go for another one on the Galactic stuff. In fact, we might even go for even more, because I kind of actually want this to be a little bit more, you know, we already got transparent stuff going on, and this is probably not going to get opaque, like almost no matter how much I put in there. Another thing that would be kind of cool is to go with a little bit of interference. I think the interference powder with this Galactic stuff is a really good choice, good option. That's looking better. I like that better. I like that. So I got to keep notes here. So we got half teaspoon of the Galactic Ghosts, 1/4 teaspoon, which frankly I probably could have gone 1/8 teaspoon on the Starlight glitter even, because that stuff tends to go a long way. What are we doing here? So I need the blue. It's a lot easier if you just dump the powders and everything into 4. But I didn't really know what I was doing, so. Okay, so we got it's violet is what it is. Okay, so I should have plenty of time though. I don't know, it is pretty hot in here. It's 82. But the resin's still cool to the touch, so I'm not that worried yet. Yeah, I was a little bit late today. Had a family event thing going on, and I just didn't know if we were gonna be able to do this or not, and then had some time, so I was like, let's do it. All right, so like I said, what we're doing some random stuff over here, but one of the things that I want to try out here is using the Color Lab pigments and go for, you know, we've been, with the testing that we've done, it's been more like looking at how much does it take to get it opaque. Now we're going to go the other way a little bit. I just want to add a little bit of blue, and this should make a fairly reasonable looking kind of like translucent blue, even though it is navy. So I just added like a little tiny drop there. We're just going to start out with that and see what this does to it, because it shouldn't take a whole lot, right? And if you add just a little bit, you see so it just tinted it, right? And, you know, it's funny because navy blue, right? That looks like ocean blue. It's just, it's so diluted that, you know, now pulling some out, we're really getting barely any color at all. So one drop, and that was a really tiny drop too. We'll do another drop here. But I want to kind of go through and just kind of see, okay, how many drops, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Color Lab pigment? The more you add, the more, you know, navy kind of hue you're going to get. So now we're getting like a blue. Now that's starting to kind of look like an ocean blue on the stick a little bit. But I still think we definitely, oh, I went a little bit crazy there. Watch out. So I'm going for like translucent, not like totally transparent. If you want transparent, I mean, obviously this will work, but I think you're better off just getting the Alumilite dyes, because they are, no matter how much you put in there, most of them are just going to stay transparent. These ones, you know, mine are not going to do that. You put too much in and it's going to start turning opaque. So I don't know, what are we at? 4 drops or so? 4 or 5? Maybe should have like weighed that. That would have been a little bit more accurate, but now we're starting to kind of get there. I might have to go back and double check how many drops I just put in. Anybody counting? All right, somebody's paying attention. That's good. So now we're getting there. Like, I like that. What do you guys think about that? It'll definitely be see-through. Maybe one more. Let's try one more drop. That'll be 7, I think. And I finally figured out the way to try to ensure that you're not like because you need to shake these things every time you use them. That's another tip. And I honestly, pretty much every pigment like this that's similar to mine, you're going to want to shake it pretty good every time. The problem is if you leave, well, don't leave the tip, this thing untwisted, because that is going to be a giant mess. So make sure it's before you start shaking, make sure it's closed fully. But if you just blot the tip off, then if you don't do that, sometimes you leave a little blob on the top and it goes flying everywhere when you shake it. So just be aware. You've been warned. Tried to fix the problem, but I couldn't find a better cap that actually worked. So I like that. That's pretty nice. Be a little bit kind of on the darker end. I'm gonna do a little bit of blue. All right, so where are we at temperature-wise? We're at 90, 91, somewhere around there. And I'm going to tell you what I don't want to mess around right now and get distracted, but I'll tell you what I was going to say. There's a little bit of a tip that I kind of found. So we're at about 90 something. I think that we can probably pour these. Now, the other nice thing is this kind of a color combination, like it's not like it's going to bleed or anything. We just need to get it to, you know, enough temperature to where it'll kind of stay in place. But if it kind of bleeds a little bit together, fine. You know, it'll probably look cool. When you're doing like certain color combinations that are just pigments, you know, like the solid color pigments like mine, sometimes you kind of really need to wait for that magic temperature because you don't want any color bleed, you know. But I find a lot of times certain micas, I mean, they're just going to look good actually if they do blend a little bit. So this is definitely going to be one of those kind of projects, I think. I think it'll even look better. So let's see, what's the temperature of these guys? 93. I think we're good to go to dump these. Tried to get as much out as I could. You know, another little kind of like warning, I had the resin chilled, right? So these numbers, these temperature numbers are not indicative of what you should be pouring at in your shop if you've just been letting the resin sit out on the counter and it's like over 80 degrees in your shop, okay? You would want to be waiting much higher to pour than I'm going to be. I'm going to be in the 90s pretty much. I'm just scraping out the last little bit of this stuff, trying to make sure we don't short our blanks because I didn't really put any extra in. All right, so where are we at here? Like I want to be at like 95 or so, 99. It doesn't matter. That's fine. So I think what I'm going to do is this. I think we'll go boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah. Put a little bit of blue in there. I'm really curious to see. I have no clue how these are going to turn out. I'm going to be completely honest. I think hopefully they'll be cool. I don't know. I mean, I've definitely never done a mixture like this before. I'm just going to do the same things over. Whoa, I flipped my stick out. And it'll be probably pretty random with how they end up kind of turning out, like how much is in each one and all that. And that's fine. Like how much of each color. Like I didn't get them perfect, obviously. And I think it's actually kind of cool to do it like that. Like they don't need to be exactly the same each blank. That's kind of actually one of the benefits, is they're not all the same exact blank, right? So there we go. I don't know. That's looking interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be the most amazing thing I ever saw in my life, you know, by the time we're done with these. I'm just going to kind of give this a little bit of a wipe because I just spilled between the two, and that way it won't just get all over my pressure pot. Just kind of give that a little bit of a wipey. Wipe my hand off so I don't get my screws sticky. One thing you don't want is sticky screws. And then both of these guys, so that was pretty simple for getting 8 blanks. You know, I don't feel like I was rushed in any way. Plenty of time. I'm not even like running over here, like hurrying with the lid. Boom. I think these will be kind of cool looking. I don't know. They're definitely going to be different than something I normally would make. That I know for certain. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. I like to get my sticks ready for the next round while my pressure pot is filling. Is kind of typically what I do. And then we can add a little bit of this blue to my Happy Fun cup, Happy Fun burl. It's a little bit thick at this point, but it's okay. It'll add a little bit of uniqueness to this fun burl. That's about all we got. Got a little bit of this purple left too. We'll dump some of that in there. Okay. I got a couple sticks to wipe off real quick. Then we'll be ready to go. And I'll share that little like kind of tip, I guess, thing that I noticed that has to do with pigments. And it may kind of work. I don't know. I don't know that I think I would use this tip, or I think this pertains more really to liquid pigments. I think. But at least either way, it's something that you can think about. So what I found, I was starting to explain, certain pigment colors tend to seem to like maybe heat the resin up more than another color, and some of them may like seem to almost slow it down. And so what ends up happening is what I was finding doing all my team color blanks with the new pigments is I would have a little bit of difficulty because certain colors were like slower or faster than others. And ideally, it'd be nice if all the colors heated up at the same rate and were like at the same, thickness and whatever at the same time. That's actually really cool looking. Look at that. That blue with the purple. That's neat. I like that. Okay, let me just get all this stuff out of the way and I can focus on what I'm doing here. All right. Go to the serious cam view. Anyway, so it'd be nice, if all your colors were reaching that temperature that you're waiting for, and that temperature is, for the most part, it's like when it gets to like the right thickness, so that it doesn't bleed together. If they don't, if one color's like 5 degrees lower than all the rest of them, that could cause problems. It may be pretty thin and tend to want to bleed. So what I've found that can kind of help that issue is if you're going to do the liquid pigments, what I found seemed to kind of even things out was dumping, like pouring your clear, getting all the sizes, like let's say you had 3 colors, so 100 grams each or whatever. You pour your resin in all the cups, and what I found was if you dump the let's say that you were going for very specific amounts of, like 2% of the color pigment, the liquid pigment in each cup. What I found was if you just dump that in and weigh it out and get it, ready, and don't start mixing that stuff into the resin, like just set the cup aside with like a big blob of the pigment at the bottom, and then do the next cup, weigh out your stuff, blob it down to the bottom, but just set it aside, don't mix it in. I've found that I'm getting more consistent temperatures across the colors if I let them all kind of basically sit there until I'm done doing all the weighing. Then I go and I stir them all like kind of quick. So I think what it is it has more to do with like when you like mix the color in. Sometimes it wasn't, it seems like red would be faster to me, but at the same time I'd also find the flip side. If I stirred up the red last, whichever cup I started stirring first, if there was a significant time lag between stirring that in and then weighing out the next one and all that kind of stuff, especially if you've got like 4 colors, by the time you get to that last color, if they've all been stirred in and then you're finally getting around to stirring the last one in, that one tends to not heat up as fast. It's kind of weird. So hopefully that made sense. Like it seems like you get if that's a problem, like if you're not having an issue with it, then I don't know that it matters. But if you are finding that different colors seem to be heating up, at different rates and all that stuff, maybe give that a try where, you measure out all your cups and then put the pigment in, but don't stir it until you've gotten the pigment in every single cup. Then stir them all kind of quick, get them all at the same time. And you might find that you get better pouring conditions, like they're all kind of at the same temperature. Is there a way of doing a chrome one? Not really chrome. There is like a silver, but I mean it's not like chrome. like shiny. To do something like that, like you'd have to, there are like chrome paints, but you know, the problem that we have is we turn the blanks, like we cut into them. So you're not really able to do chrome. Now, if you wanted to just do a metal pen, then, you know, that's fine. Because you could also turn that. Best I got is this guy. It's a Raiders colors. And I'm not certain that this is going to be the final thing, but I wanted to test. So this was a mica with black. So, I mean, that's kind of chromish, but I mean, it's like pearly chrome, right? It's kind of it's got a little chatoyance going on in there. Try and get it under the camera. So, you know, you can use mica powders. Like I said, these depends on like what product you're putting in there and all that kind of stuff. But for like, you know, if you're like literally chrome, not using what I'm using here, and probably not really in resin. Let's see here. Shimmy ones? Shimmery like? Yeah, so I got a couple different ones. What's the magic temp? Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to start Bespoke pen next week on one of these. It should be pretty fun. Yeah, so 600 grams seems so, you know, P-Town, you know, Fred over there, he does a good job letting you know how to use his products. I was like, 600 grams, that just seems like a lot, but it was 8 blanks, you know. Black and gold and dark red. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. All right, guys, like I said, this is just kind of a quickie. Today, like about an hour or so, we'll just pour some blanks, and then, like I said, we'll turn one of these guys up, make a bespoke pen, start it. I'm probably not going to finish the whole thing next week, but we'll start that. We might have to go 2 weeks in a row turning it, and then hopefully that'll look good. I don't think it's going to look terrible, so I'm probably going to start pouring more of these guys this week to make sure that everybody for the Pen Blank Club, you know, they're ready when it's time to ship out in a couple weeks. Vinny's here. Yeah, well, I was really late today. We started at like 4, but I had a family thing, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do a stream today. But thanks for joining the fun. You can watch the replay and see what we made. One quick thing. So there is one more spot available in the Pen Blank Club. Where's that at? I'm going to do another link to that. And then I linked to like the Starlight glitter and all that kind of stuff down in the description already. So for those folks tuning in later, or if you want to come back, I also linked to like the vertical, you know, silicone molds at Turner's Warehouse and resin, and you know, like all those types of things are already linked down in the description. But if you want to, there's only one more spot available for the Pen Blank Club. So if you want that, make sure to go and snag that thing. They tend to go quick. So and after that one's gone, then we're at the like full limit again. So Amy says hello. Hey, what's up, Amy? I hope you guys have fun doing a little bit of camping. Are you like camping? I guess whatever you're doing, enjoy it. It should be pretty fun. Beat the heat. But like I said, guys, next week we'll turn one of these guys up. Big thank you to everybody that showed up late. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I'm just going to flip it on and do something just to make sure that everybody gets, you know, something this week. And so it was fun. We had some new people too. It was pretty cool. So let's see here. Yeah, sometimes I'll mix it up. I don't think these needed it. I don't know. You could do that. I have all kinds of different mixing sticks. You can just use like a coat hanger or something like that. And I just use something like this for anybody that doesn't know. Sometimes I'll go down there and I can you can spin it or just, you know, whatever, and just kind of stir the contents up. I was actually kind of going for blobs a little bit more, rather than kind of swirls in this one. I don't know. I just was like, let's try this out and see what we get, kind of thing. So it should be pretty fun though, seeing what the results are. So anyway, guys, like I said, thanks for joining the fun tonight. I know it was kind of a short one, but you know, short and sweet. And then we'll see the results next week. I can't wait to see how these things look, and I'm excited to turn another bespoke pen. It's been a while. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of the evening. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on the next stream.